Hi, Margarita. Thank you so much for including your work. Feedback is appreciated. Of course, absolutely. Let's jump right in and take a look at your rebus. Okay, so I'm going to reduce the size here a little bit so we can fit this in the window. We'll take a look at the black and white, and then we'll take a look at the color. So my main, you know what, let me just reduce it even more. So there we go. All right, the main thing I see, I've got a few comments that are going to help, and I think they'll make really good sense to you. So the first thing is this. The viewer doesn't know whether to go from here to the right or from here down. So I think the configuration is a little bit ambiguous in that regard. So I would make it specifically clear. Now don't forget, this is 8.5 by 11, portrait or landscape. So feel free to use a horizontal format for this, whatever way you want is. But I just think about that. Right now, there's just no way for the viewers to know whether they're supposed to go. I mean, of course, we know we're going to start here, as of course typically we start in any composition in the upper left and move right and down. But that's not to say that this rebus is following that, and I don't think there's any indication that that's the case. So try to think of a way that you can reconfigure your rebus so that it's very, very specifically clear which direction to follow. I think that this is the weak point in the rebus right here. That looks like a peace sign. I think Paris just said that, or I think Paris described it as a peace sign. That's exactly what I thought it was. I think this is really difficult to figure out. I would definitely work on the two wrongs. So donut, M plus cake, make. There's a little bit of hierarchy issue right here. I would say instead of having the M as large as the cake, it's M plus cake. So you can reduce the size of that a little bit and maybe even bring them closer in context a little bit. Same thing here. I just think the M and the A are a little bit too large. If we take a look at some of those examples, you can see they're not quite as prominent. Do you see what I'm saying? Not quite as prominent as they are in yours. Those are really, really large and very prominent. So it's M with cake, okay? So let's just think about a more expeditious way to present that. I think reducing the size of the M and maybe taking a little bit of the attention away from the M, as it is meant to not stand alone, but to read in addition with cake, okay? Does that make sense? If not, let me know. I'll see if I can clarify that. And then a right. Okay, so then we go to the color version, and I think, again, it's it's done very well. One thing I would say is right here, I think you could add some color variety right here instead of using the same colors here. And it looks like, I don't know if you forgot to add color here, but I would say add color to this in the color version instead of using the black and white version. And the reason to be is that this is stylistically different than everything else in the composition. So it's an anomaly. Whenever in design, whenever you have an anomaly, in other words, if you're only using something once in a composition, either use it again or get rid of it. And that's kind of a basic principle in design. It kind of falls under continuation as a principle to Gestalt. But think about that. My final recommendation is this as you have the right and the quill and the writing. And I think that just to give this more of a connection to contemporary writing, I wouldn't use the feather quill. I would use a pen here. And also, right now you've got this kind of scribbling out as the signature. So I think this could be mistaken for signature as opposed to write. So let's forget the signature and just continue the writing along and then add a pen. I think that'll add a more of a contemporary and also bring it a little bit more in line with your other illustrations. Okay. All right. So that's all I have. I think that it's a fantastic start and definitely well on your way. So consider my recommendations. Let me know if you have any questions or if I can make any clarifications. Let me know. I'll be glad to do so. And one other thing I would mention is this is right here. I know that I said don't use this, and I still think that you should replace it. But if in the case that you did use this, we see a little contrast issue right here. Matter of fact, we see some contrast issues in all of your illustrations. My recommendation here is on the cake the hands and the donut, just to add a minute, maybe 1 pixel stroke, a contour lines around the image, just to give them a little bit more contrast. Of course, you wouldn't do it to the candle, that would never work, but around the frosting and the cake itself, just a very, very, maybe 1 pixel black stroke, and then also the contour lines and the interior lines, characteristic lines of the hand, I think should also increase in contrast, just to make it a little more recognizable. And that's a general statement as far as illustration, but again, I still think this should be replaced. All right, fantastic. Questions? Let me know. Thank you very much.